Good afternoon. This week, the Torah portion is about the Decalogue. The Decalogue is the famous 10 Commandments, but there really are 14 commandments there. And so who's counting? I guess, people don't really care about commandments anyway, because in certain places they're the 10 suggestions. After all, adultery in certain places is considered a matter of consensual relationships. However, for those of us who are believers in the universal standard, we call this the Aseres Hadibros, the 10 statements of God. And this was communicated to an entire people at Mount Sinai, a mere 7 weeks after the Exodus. And you might ask yourself, what exactly took place at that fateful event? What was it so important? Why did it shape the lives and the destiny of the people of Israel? So let me go over some ideas that are important that maybe you don't know anything about. There's a whole discussion in the writings as well as modern books. There's a book written by Rabbi Miller on the sixth principle of Maimonides, that God gives prophecy to people, in which he declares clearly that prophecy is not the pursuit of all people, certainly not the pursuit of all Jewish people. And I wish to address this because I believe he makes a grave error. I don't know how else to communicate this to him, but I will do so publicly, and hopefully someone out there will communicate this to Rabbi Miller from the Kol Menachem, or the institute dealing with the Rebbe's teachings. All of Israel were prophets at that moment. Why were they able to be prophets at that moment as opposed to other times in our history? What is the actual process that allows for people who ordinarily would not be prophets to be able to become prophets? That's number one. And number two, if this happened once, why could it not happen a second time? So I'm going to try to explain what exactly the prophetic experience is, and through that we will clarify some errors. Number one, according to Rabbi Moses ben Maimon, also commonly known as Maimonides, Rambam, he says the following: the purpose of the commandments of the Torah are to create a betterment of the human condition dealing with one's emotions and one's relationships with others. The reason why we study Torah, the reason why we do mitzvahs, is to develop the attitudes that are proper so that we know how to react properly when the time comes. And so the whole purpose of doing the commandments is learning a balance of the human condition, how to deal with people, how to be the right kind of person, and to be a positive person, and a person who doesn't waste his time, a person who is performing at an optimal level. And in order to do so, you have to be punctilious. That means to be completely observant of all of the commandments, because every one of the commandments leads you to this development of the human condition. The purpose of the Torah is not to make you super religious, that you have to be nervous whether there's a bug in your lettuce, or nervous that maybe you said something with the improper inflection or the improper attitude. The whole process of Torah and the commandments is to learn to be a happy, positive, functioning, caring, concerned, considerate human being in the proper balance. The only way to get a proper balance is when you do the mitzvahs exactly. And so the revealed portion of the Torah is Kedei, in order to balance the heart, make the heart balanced, make the person the kind of person who reacts properly with others and with God. And what happens after that? After that, one must delve into the secrets of the Torah. What are the secrets of the Torah? There's the Kabbalah, there's the mystical teachings, there's the knowledge of the great thoughts, the abstract thoughts, which Maimonides also includes philosophy. The purpose of the balance of the human psyche and the human emotion is in order to develop, to be able to reach higher levels of intellectual understanding. And once we reach higher levels of intellectual understanding, we're capable of developing the ultimate gifts of the intellect. And what exactly is the ultimate gift of the intellect? You may be surprised. The ultimate gift of the intellect is not to be able to create a new theorem like Einstein. The ultimate gift of the intellect is to be able to understand God. Once you understand God, or godliness, what God is about, then you can raise yourself higher and higher, because God is infinite. And the knowledge of God has infinite levels of knowledge. And when you're on that level of the knowledge of God, then you're on your way to becoming a prophet, because a prophet is aware of the wisdom of God. The primary role of the prophet is not to crystal ball gaze. The primary role of the prophet is to know and understand God with the human faculties to the limit of the human existence, and then to come to a higher awareness, which is a gift from God. When the person does all that he or she can, utilizing the heart and the mind, then God gives that person the gift of the greater knowledge, which is the gift of prophecy. And so, my friends, the purpose of the Torah is to become a prophet. It's just that we can't expect that to happen, because more than likely we will not have accomplished all that we need to accomplish. But that is the purpose, and that is why we want the days of the Messiah, so that we can know God, and knowledge of God is prophecy.